I'm on my way to meet someone who's broken away from the usual office life in the city. She's chosen to set up her business in a beautiful location, actually sitting by the poolside in a tropical garden. Let's go and meet her. Hello, this afternoon I'm with Jerome, and we're sitting in this lovely garden here talking about I's experience of coming to Phuket and her career. So there's so much to tell, but I guess the beginning question is sort of, would you like to tell us what it is you do?
Well, I am an accredited practicing dietitian. I practice here. I have my own clinic here, which I do mostly online, but I do see people sometimes in the garden, but mostly in people's homes or offices, and a lot of it is online now.
Yeah. That was my question, because I was thinking most people who do this role, they operate from a hospital, a clinic or something.
I've been there and I've done that. I don't need to do that anymore. I don't want to be stuck in a small, dingy office and get my sunshine and fresh air when I go for my 1 hour breaks at lunch, while you're also typing up all your notes and all the reporting that you need to do.
Yep.
So yeah, and even when I worked in private practice in Sydney, I had my own office, and it's great. You work in a small team, but again, you're stuck in this office, and often clients don't show, and you're just sitting there and wait, and that's almost so frustrating sometimes when you've got a fully booked schedule and you could have booked someone who really needed to see you, but then they don't show, and then you're stuck in that office waiting for the next hour of the next session, right? So now working online it's so much more flexible. You can do it, and you can. I'm traveling next week. I can still see. I was just changing all my my time so that it would suit their time zone and my time zone, and most people are fine with that now, especially with COVID. People are so much more flexible. And when I first started my consultancy, we used to do consults on Skype.
Oh yes,
Skype?
I do. I know Skype.
So that was before WhatsApp, before iMessaging and FaceTime, and we would do it that way, and that was perfectly fine because I had clients from Hong Kong, I had clients in Sydney, I had clients all over, and the referrals from people in Hong Kong would be anywhere. It could be Paris, could be New York, could be anywhere.
So the heart of it is you wanted to be outdoors, you wanted to just breathe and be away from the office sort of situation, but still continue in your work.
Yes, I think it was really important to my identity. After I had kids, I always wanted to work, and I always wanted to work throughout having children. I didn't want to stay stagnant, and I worked so hard. I did a bachelor's and a master's and all that training and all that hard work. I didn't want to lose those clinical skills, so just being able to work part-time and doing it online. And when you have a young child, you're not always available at certain times. So you can carve out certain times when you can see your clients, and most people who, if those times work for them, they're happy to see you.
So actually being online was good through the pandemic because you were doing it sort of anyway, some of that. Yeah.
Well, if anything, COVID made people more comfortable with seeing a nutritionist and dietitian online, because I think once upon a time people wanted to be weighed and measured, but over the last 5 years for me, I tend not to do that anymore because I find it quite triggering, and I find that a lot of clients weight may be their goal, when for me I work more at a health at every stage type of practice, where you can be a certain weight, but as long as you're healthy, and if I can get you to your health goal, so if you wanted to decrease your blood sugars because you had diabetes, I can help you do that, but that's not always a weight thing, that's a blood sugar thing. So if you can bring your HbA1c down by 2 points, fantastic. It doesn't matter if you're 120 kilos or 80 kilos or whatever it is, you have just increased your life expectancy by 10 years. So I don't need to weigh people, and I don't need to touch and to have that physical contact with people so much anymore, because I just don't operate that way as a clinician.
Do you find that within yourself then, to be able to pull this off, you've had to develop some particular skills as in characteristics within yourself you've developed in strength in certain ways?
You know, when I first graduated, you know, you have this ideal of what you want and how you want to practice. And then as you start to practice, you know, you learn things along the way. This works, this doesn't. And then, you know, I've been doing it now for 16 plus years. And I really found my niche. I really found the type of clients that I really want to work with. So learning how to communicate with those specific types of clients, you know, knowing what triggers people, knowing what's important. Obviously you have to change your communication style to certain demographics or certain types of clients. For instance, eating disorder, the types of language that you might want to use would be a lot more mindful.
Gentle.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. You would for all clients, but I think specifically for eating disorder, it's quite a delicate situation most times. So, and then working online, doing it over a screen, you have to be more personable. You have to come across that screen and really connect.
Because people might be in a delicate state.
Sometimes, but just sometimes I think seeing any type of clinician or like even your GP, it's like dating.
Dating?
I think so. Like if you used to go and see a personal trainer, for instance, you're going to be spending 1 hour with this person every week or twice a week.
Yeah.
You want to like this person. You want to identify with them. You want to be able to be happy to talk to them. And if I'm your nutritionist and your dietitian, I'm asking you some very personal questions.
I guess so.
You're revealing a lot of your vulnerability to me. So we have to have a connection. So working online, you really have to make that connection. I don't know how you grow that. I think it just kind of happens with time and experience.
I was wondering, of all the places to have chosen, you chose this one. You're right by the beach. I totally understand it. I was wondering, Phuket, was a specific reason for choosing Phuket? Had you been in the past and stuff like that?
I've been here before for weddings and holidays. Right. My husband and I met in Hong Kong. So we had come here. It's only a 3-hour flight. So we'd come here quite a lot. We used to go climbing quite a bit. And so we knew it quite well. We were living in Sydney previously, and then prior to that we were living in Hong Kong. So we knew that we didn't want to be in a big industrialised, big city, mega city.
That's my feeling too.
Yeah. And we loved it. We loved it when we lived there, and I miss it so much sometimes. But for me, I can go there for 3 days, and that is enough for me, and I'm so happy to come back to fresh air, beautiful sunshine, pool, beach at your fingertips. It really is a wonderful place to live.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then you did it with children.
Yeah.
Do you think children adapt more easily than adults do?
I think so. Look, my kids were really young. Like we were saying before, I was pregnant when I first met you. And, and that's all my son's known. He was born here.
Yeah.
So when I ask him, where are you from? He says, I'm from Thailand.
Okay.
Whereas my girls, they were born in Sydney, so they say I'm Australian. So it's interesting because we've lived here this whole time, we go back for holidays, of course. Right. And he knows his family is in Australia, and he knows his family is in the UK and in Spain and all these different places. But here is home for him, but it's not Australia, even though he knows that we, most of my family is there. But also, his dad's family is in the UK, so he's kind of split between two worlds.
That's lovely, actually. Yeah. And then operating a business out of Thailand, people say it can be a headache. Are there anything specific to Thailand that make it awkward, do you think, sometimes? I think paperwork is quite... they ask for a lot of paperwork. This is what I've heard from other people I've spoken to. Paperwork galore. Like literally paper. Yes. They love the paper, and you just have to photocopy everything they want you to photocopy. Lots of signatures. Anything you photocopy you have to sign. And I think it's really hard to navigate as well. So having someone that you
can work with, that can guide you through that process, is absolute key, because especially if you don't speak the language. I think even if you speak the language, there's just so much to navigate. So having someone who's experienced who can do that for you makes it so much easier.
In terms of health, like for all people, is there any sort of key recommendations that you would give to people that apply to all people that we should all be mindful of? What would you say?
It's funny,
in
I'm doing another postgraduate degree. I'm doing psychology at the moment, and I've just finished this amazing unit called Developmental and Biological Psychology. So it takes you through the life stages from in utero all the way to the end of life, right? So we learnt about the development of the brain, the body, how it grows, how it develops, all the way to the degradation of the mind and body to death. And it reminded me that there's so much to treasure and there's so much growth that happens in the beginning. And I think that nutritionally, it really does start from in utero. That exposure when you're pregnant, all those tastes you're exposing that infant in your body to all of those tastes. And that helps them to increase the variety of things that they will accept when they start eating food.
How interesting.
Yeah, so, and everything that you do at home, it really imprints and impacts on it, how they are as they get older through the life stage. And you take that through with you all the way to the end. So having a very positive and supportive environment, people, peers, trying to nurture that as a parent and exposing your children to lots of different things, and consistency is really important. But then going through, I'm a big advocate of having vegetables, and I think the one thing that people don't get enough of, I think, is fruits and veg. I know it sounds really boring because everyone knows that they need to eat their fruit and veg. But it is so important, and you know, once you get to rate 60, 65, 50% of people will start to have macular degeneration, which is the part of your eye, and that is preventable from eating lots of fruit and vegetables.
Gosh.
Yeah, and the other thing is osteoporosis. For women, it's about 35 to 40% of women will have osteoporosis and fractures as they get through menopause. And that again is preventable from having enough calcium in your diet, and also just lots of physical exercise.
I remember having read your website, somewhere on there you'd said something about just keep it natural, keep it simple.
Keeping it simple, yeah.
Keeping it simple.
Natural I'm not so sure about, but absolutely keeping it simple, and just, it's all wonderful to have supplements and special whiz-bang products, but I think if we really just stick to trying to eat as close, food that looks as close to the ground.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, fresh is really wonderful, but if you can't have fresh, not all is lost, because there are some amazing products out there, like canned beans and frozen vegetables are a lifesaver, and you don't have to chop them or prepare them because they're already done. So, and that's still getting your fruit and vegetables in. So, but these overly processed foods, I think that's something that I would say please avoid if you can. But if you're stuck in an airport and that's all you have, then go for it. But when you land, try and get a good meal in after that.
For sure.
And share it with your family in a consistent, supportive, positive way.
So children can be won over, it's just a case of their parents modelling it and living it from the start.
I think so.
From pregnancy even.
Yeah.
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 Aye, wow, there's a lot to take in there. And yeah, looking at the situation here thinking, hey, what a wonderful opportunity to be able to work from your laptop in the garden here and connecting with people around the world. It's an inspiration to see somebody doing it. So you're certainly living a life less ordinary.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So I wish you well in what you're doing, because I'm sure a lot of people are benefiting from hearing this message.
I have a gift for you. You ready? So I break bread. I didn't buy it. This is home baked, but I put it in a bag for you.
Ooh.
So I make sourdough.
Excellent. Oh. the most wonderful.
So this is for you.
This is very special.
This is 18-hour fermentation. It is yesterday's bake. I didn't have time to bake it this morning.
Thank you.
Pure sourdough made with whole wheat and white flour.
How excellent.
18-hour, and all that's in there is salt, flour and water, and lots of love.
Lots of love.
Yeah.
I will eat it, and I know that I'll enjoy that, because looking at it I think, yes, it's everything I love. Thank you. Do appreciate that. That's very thoughtful. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, you'd help us a lot if you'd subscribe, give us a comment and a like. Thank you.